tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and then we can get into it.
I live under the bridge on the mattress behind me, but it's like my makeshift Murphy
I
bed.
swear.
I was real nice and took the Habitat for Humanity manager some Taco Bell, and he gave me the couch I'm sitting on.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good to have friends.
It's crazy.
You gonna edit that out?
No, I'm gonna leave that in. That's the best part of this. I was honestly thinking, like, how funny would it be? Because most of the times we have these conversations with, like, you and other printers and stuff. It's like playing Xbox. It's like I should have just set the podcast mic up like in the room and like turned the live chat on.
So I told my buddy today, we talk very frequently, and a lot of times when we talk, we're in the car, and it's funny because I was like, we should do a podcast where we just turn the recorder on because we'll be talking randomly, like some road rage will happen.
Just start screaming.
Yeah, and it's like nothing happens, right back to normal because we don't skip a beat.
Best part is for like audio only. It's like you have no context to what's happening, and all of a sudden you start swearing that somebody crossed over in front of the road. Yeah,
there'd probably be serious after hours editing going on because I like watching the Bill Burr. He does like the car thing where he just rides around. He's got a little YouTube where he just rides around LA.
Yeah,
commentator.
Bill Burr is my favorite, like, all-time comedian.
Yeah,
I have some prints like right above my computer from Bill. Me and Chris went and saw him at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, really?
What year was it? It was 2015.
Dude, I was like,
pretty awesome.
That was pretty crazy. We were watching The Mandalorian, and like he did a good job in that.
Yeah, I heard he might come back too.
Really?
Yeah, because he didn't die. He had that badass like gun shoulder thing.
Yeah, he did a good job in it.
Yeah, he did. Well, he was good in Breaking Bad too.
Dude, that's the one. You know, another one people completely forget about is like he was part of the racial draft on the Chappelle Show. He was one of those commentators.
Yeah.
We got Tiger Woods.
Yeah, we have like a collection of movies that like me and some of the guys at work watch, where we watch like Bigfoot movies and stuff. And one of the ones that we watched was ZOMBEAVERS, and he's in that too.
What?
Yeah, it's a movie about beavers that get infected and they become zombies, and then they like
real movie.
Yeah, and then they bite people, and those people turn into big beavers.
They eventually get bought out by DuPont, and then they have log cabins.
Yeah, that's pretty much the story.
Dude, ZOMBEAVERS. He's in
that.
How old is that for him to be in that? Like, that's got to be.
It's not that old. I gotta look it up, but it's pretty funny. Yeah, I have like probably like a whole shelf worth of like Bigfoot movies and super weird B movies that we got together and watched, and that one's up there. It's pretty good.
That had to have been after he gained some fame, and he's doing that film. That's crazy.
Probably just had like owed somebody a favor.
Yeah,
and it's like, fuck, now I gotta be in ZOMBEAVERS.
So I mean, where do you find these movies? I thought like basically you got Harry and the Hendersons, and then like that one Bobcat Goldthwait made.
Dude, there are so many like Sasquatch movies. Like, just go to Amazon and type in Sasquatch movie. There's like hundreds of them.
I mean, just did you watch the Flat Earth movie? Like with the guy?
I can't watch that stuff. To me, that's like, come on, dude.
I know, but it's like those people, like they probably like studied like blood sport and marked for death growing up. So like, if you really piss them off, like, it's not flat, dude. They're like, it may not be flat, bro, but your nose is. Kapow!
It's like that. What was that dude's name that just like made a homemade rocket and then like went up and?
I watched that one too.
Didn't he die?
Insane. No, he didn't die, but like he came down super hard in one of my.
Well, yeah.
He didn't die. Like,
it's like he didn't go any higher than you would go in an airplane. Like, you just buy a fucking plane ticket.
I don't know. That's pretty crazy. I mean, I don't know whether I like respect him more than I just think he's insane. Like, there's a line there where it's like, I respect that, and then it's like, you're kind of dumb, dude.
Yeah. Well, he went for what he believes in, and
I respect that.
Fucking crashed hard.
I respect that.
Cuts to him in like bed with that full body cast with like the arms hanging out and stuff. He's like, it's still flat.
Oh Lord.
So what did you do fresh out of high school, you like did some National Guard or something?
So I did. I've kind of always. I worked at UPS. That was like my first real job.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
How did
yeah,
you get a job there? Because isn't that one of those things like you have to like know somebody to know somebody?
that's what it was. It's like one of my youth group friends from church. Like his uncle worked there and got me a job there, and I worked there about. Like the thing is it's a good job, but I mean it is hard. Like
Yeah.
package car driving, man. Like people have no idea how tough that job is. It's brutal. But
So what did you actually do? Did you like fill the trucks or did you?
I just yeah, I did. I worked almost every job in the warehouse because what's crazy is I think it's part of their tactic to retain people. So at UPS, it's like I think some people get lucky and get hired like out of college because they'll send recruiters, but most people, when I worked at the one in Jacksonville, you got to wait like 10 years before you
Yeah.
get a package car driver because it's all seniority.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just kind of looked at that and I'm like, I can't live in my parents' house another 10 years. I've got to do something and
Yeah.
get out of here. So I worked there, I think like 3 years or so. And then I decided to go in the Coast Guard. And then I went there for 4 years. And then
What was
kind of,
that? What was that like?
it was cool. We chased like drug boats in the Caribbean, like the Go
Well, you
Fast.
have to elaborate a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it was all right. We chased drug people, and then next story.
It was pretty awesome. It was like, I mean, I got to travel all over the Caribbean, like South America, Europe. And I mean, you get paid for it. I was like an air traffic controller and like a radarman. And I like control the helicopter when it shoots the engines out of it and everything, like to go fast. And they start throwing the cocaine overboard, like, I'm not guilty. And we're like, you're guilty, dude. We're picking them up while they're floating by.
It's amazing.
And then you take them and drop them off in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba.
Just stay here.
Yeah. But that was a fast 4 years, but it was fun.
Yeah. Well, what'd you do after that then?
Basically, I started a landscaping company with a buddy. That's brutal.
No shit. I don't think we're built for that kind of thing.
I mean, it's good money, but it's brutal. And then I tore houses apart for one of his family friends because he flipped houses. And I'm pretty sure the dude owns like 30 properties now and just picks up his check and plays Xbox the rest of the month. Like he's
Not
just,
bad.
yeah, it's not bad. But it just kind of did that, bounced around in warehousing again, and then kind of randomly met a friend of a friend. I played in bands when I was younger. It was hilarious because I think I still have the box somewhere in a storage or in somewhere in the house or in the shop that actually had t-shirts made at a certain point for our band.
Yeah.
And I actually went to the place, and it was a massive place. They printed like all the hockey team stuff in Jacksonville, and the light bulb just never went on. Like most people, like I mean, I think I've heard some of your origin story was kind of DIY, like doing stuff like that.
It just worked out to where, we ended up printing out of like a garage with like doing one color prints and started doing that route. And we would go to like AC Moore and buy like a ton of blanks. And then we would just go back to the shop and print the same logo on like, a bunch of different color shirts, which we hate as printers now when people are like, oh, I need 2 green, 3 purple.
I don't know. Like we're all kind of different places as printers. Like you guys are definitely ahead of me in terms of like size and the volume you're doing and stuff like that. But I also don't think I have to deal with quite as much
Bullshit.
like of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. No, I think the biggest advantage that we have is that we kind of treat every job differently. Like we're not a shop that's like we only do plastisol or we only do water base or we only do this kind of inks. Basically, we get a job in and Sarah or Chris or whatever will show it to me and be like, this design looks like this. It's going on this kind of shirt. I'm like, oh well, actually that shirt would that would work out really well to do like a discharge under base with plastisol on top, or actually that shirt we could do like it's white on black Bella 3001 or something. I'm like, well, let's just do that as white discharge because we can.
Yeah.
So I feel like we just do it job by job of like, how could we achieve the best feel and, fit and everything for this customer.
Yeah.
So that's how we choose. We're not just like, oh, we'll talk to the customer and be like, hey, we think, we want to upsell you on doing discharge or water base or whatever. We more just like take it into our own hands to be like, well, we know that this will give you the best results. And then when we make them the mock-up approval, we like put on there in the notes, like, we're going to use water base and this is the Pantones we're going to use. And then we obviously like they approve it and then that's what we print. But I feel like that's the best way to go about it, because every plastisol, water base, all these things, they all have their own place. And we're obviously the professionals. So, well, it's supposed to be the professionals. So we know enough to tell the customer like, hey, this is going to give you the best results. And I think that's why they like come back, is because they appreciate that like we looked at it as like, how can we make this better, rather than, I mean, we could do every job plastisol, like we could just do that and be like, screw it. Like, but we know if somebody's like you said, like a landscaper, and they have a fucking logo that's a giant rectangle, and they're always like, oh, we want black shirts with a white rectangle on the back. I'm like, well, this is gonna melt your flesh off. So how about we do some cotton shirts with discharge, and then it's basically the shirt and you can actually breathe and sweat through it and whatever. So
I honestly, like, when people ask me, and you guys work with a lot of cool people, and I've been super lucky to work with a lot of cool people, and I mean, there's kind of a blueprint to that, but I don't really think there's a blueprint. It's just like really caring a lot. And like, I know you guys do, and I do. Like, I mean, getting to know you has been rad, and I can tell that we're similar in the fact that, like, if I didn't love this stuff, I sure as shit would. It's a lot of work. It's so much more work than people realize. And like, when you actually care, like that's the secret. There's not really a secret. It's just really giving a shit.
Yeah, that's 100% it.
That's all it is. And like, the funny thing is, anybody could do that. A lot of people. But I'm kind of grateful for those people, because it allows opportunities for people like us. Like,
I get people all the time that ask me, like, you know, oh, I want to start a business or do this, and you can tell in the first like 10 seconds if they want to start a business because they're super passionate about what they want to do, or they want to start a business because they think it's a good way to make money.
Yeah.
And
that's like, this is the first thing I did. It was eye-opening to me, and I wish I'd realized this younger, but like, I was raised very blue collar. Like, my dad has an auto shop. I mean, I have relatives that have business, you know, I mean, my dad grew up in a junkyard and had to earn everything his whole life, and like never really had the luxury to find something that maybe he liked. I mean, he built a Batmobile, for God's sakes, in his spare time when he was younger, and he had the energy. But like, the landscape company, like, I had a partner in it, you know. Everybody, partnerships are very tricky.
Dude, partnerships are the worst. For real.
But it's like, this was the first thing in my life that when I found it and I saw it, it wasn't money wasn't the goal.
Right.
It was like, and I tell people that, and I try and teach my kids that, is like, there's lots of things you can do and make a lot of money at, and you could have a great life. But like, the experiences I know you have, and I have, and other people that are great at something and strive to be really great, you have these special experiences that I don't think you get when you're just sitting there doing e-trades all day long, and you're just trying to make money. And it's like, I think that's why it's worked so far, is because it wasn't about the money. It was like, I want to try and become the best I can be at this shit, and I will never stop, because I don't think you can ever be the best, but you can be pretty damn good.
Yeah, but even the people that do everything for the money, it's like, what the hell are you doing at home that you need all that fucking money for?
You know what? They haven't watched Dave Ramsey.
Yeah. Well, it's like, dude, they're like, oh, I need to make this much money. I need to make this much money. And then they go home and they're so burnt out from work that they just sit on the couch and watch Netflix and get up and do it all over again.
Like, dude, you need to take all your bills and add them up and be like, what can we cut? Someone's got to be cut from the roster.
Dude.
Maybe, like, it blows my mind, man. Like, I learned very quickly. It's all basic math. None of this shit is algebra. None of it's calculus. It's all basic math. And it blows my mind. Like, the funniest thing about Dave Ramsey is this dude isn't telling you anything proprietary. He's made millions off telling you common sense shit that he sat down and figured out. And then he was like, man, sweetie, look at how good our life's going. You think anybody would care about this? He packaged it and started going, holy shit, sweetie, look, you can even tell these people that they can get this on their own, and they still won't do it, and they'll pay to come watch us and buy our books and shit. This is amazing.
Like classes and shit.
I'm like, all you got to do is just sit down and be like, I would like this level and quality of life. Do I make enough money for it? No. What's the next best quality of life? And you just got to keep backtracking until your income matches your quality.
Yeah.
And if it ain't what you want, work harder. Like, one of the funniest things is like, once I grasped that concept, and then I started a business, and then it was like the complete opposite. It's like, okay, now it's like people think you start a business, you just keep the money. No, this is the art of getting rid of money while retaining it through assets and things.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you don't get to take your stacks and go to the casino and just have fun.
No, it's like us too. Like, people are like, oh, it's crazy to see like where you're at and everything. And it's like, dude, everything I make, I put back.
I mean,
like
that's like, yeah, that's kind of the same way I operate. Like, when you're starting out, you can, like, there's different tiers and different sources. Like, when you're starting out, you can find something on Craigslist, and then you kind of start getting the heavier stuff. That stuff typically has a decent resale, and you can pretty much get most of your money back. And then you get to the next level, like we're kind of at. It's harder to get rid of it. You don't care so much what you get for it. It's just kind of pocket change most of the time, because you're in this another realm where it's like you're doing real stuff with real equipment. And it's kind of funny how that progression works. Like,
yeah, like we obviously when we first started, the same thing. You kind of buy whatever you can get your hands on, and
this game being broke, and I was like, I gotta get everything for this. Like, I need every dime to flip into something else.
Yeah, like we went on Craigslist and found somebody that was selling a brown electric dryer, and it would probably like 4-hour drive. And they're like, we have 2 of them. We were a clothing line, and we thought we were going to print our own stuff, and we decided that we didn't like screen printing, which most people do.
It's too much work.
Exactly. Oh, I didn't know.
I thought this was like an easy bake oven.
Yeah. So the best part is, like, we drove with this like shitty trailer that we had. I thought in my mind, for some reason, it was going to be big enough for both of them. We get there, and it barely fit one dryer.
Oh, man.
So they were selling 2 dryers, and I was like, well, fuck it, I'll buy both. And then, we have a backup if we need it, or just a second dryer. So we get there, we fit one in it, and then we're like, well, we can actually fit like conveyor motor and like this one arm in with this other one, and we'll come back and get the rest. And by the time we got back, we're like, fuck it, we don't need the other one. So this dude has a second dryer that we paid for sitting in the barn with like half the parts.
Dude, I've had stories with the trailers, and when I first started, the first situation I faced like that, I'm going straight 26-footer with the lift gate from Penske. I don't care. I went and picked up my tri-light unit. That was the only thing in the truck, Dylan.
Jesus.
That was the only thing in that entire truck. Like, you could have put all the jackass dudes in there and had like that moving truck party, like in the first movie, and there's plenty of space. Like, the roller derby in there.
Well, when I bought the Sprint that we had before this one, it was like 4 hours away in Buffalo, and I didn't know exactly what I was going to run into. So I went to U-Haul near me, got the biggest truck they had, drove it 4 hours, got there, and the dude was like, I called him the day before, and he was like, yeah, I'll have it fully disassembled, like by the loading dock. All you gotta do is back up, we'll put it in, and you can go. So I was like, all right, cool. So I got up early that morning, got the U-Haul, drove there, got there, knocked on the door, like his staff was there, and he was like, oh yeah, he's over here. And they literally, the fucking dryer was on cooldown. Like, they just got done printing on it. And I was like, oh my God. And he's like, yeah, we had some jobs to do, so I just decided to use it. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, right then I was like, fuck, this sucks. But the truth of it is like, it was kind of nice because like I got to help him take it apart. So like I knew exactly where everything went. Like when I got, like, I feel like if he would have just gave me like pallets of pieces when I got to the shop, I would have put something together wrong. I wouldn't have known where certain wires went. So it was kind of nice. So like when we sold the Sabre to a local buddy, the same thing. Like I told him, I was like, hey, like we're going to take it apart on Wednesday. Like you're more than welcome to come by, help us take it apart, because like I know the value in that of like, you know exactly how we took it apart. You know how easy it was. You know, these wires snap into these wires.
I think one of the funniest things is when I sold I think a Sidewinder, and they show up, I swear to God, with 4 Newman roller frames. That was like a CMYK print. They were supposed to just come and look at it with cash. And they're like, you think we could run? Like, they had brought shirts like they were going to run a quick job on it. I'm like, no, you can buy it or leave.
Didn't actually want to buy it. They just wanted to
They
run
wanted
a
me to
job.
turn the dryer on and let them run some shirts. I'm like, are you serious, man? Like, are you kidding me? This isn't real.
Yeah. We always bought like used stuff in the beginning, but as soon as we bought our first like brand new press, it was like, I'm never going back. Like just getting a new press and having it be like everything's dialed, everything's perfect.
Yeah.
Like the tech comes, sets it up perfectly. And then you start printing on it. You're like, I mean, I get it. Like when you're starting up, you don't have the money, and like
Right,
you know, you need honestly, you need to get shitty stuff in the beginning to learn.
Yeah,
Like, don't be one of those trust fund kids that like
yeah.
goes out and buys a brand new gauntlet and everything like without printing ever before.
That's
Like
crazy.
you need to have some real shit stuff to appreciate when you get something brand new and you're like, oh my God, like I'm never going back. So like everything since we bought that Sportsman we got brand new, I basically have the exact like dream shop I've always wanted right now. Like I got the Sportsman, I got the Gauntlet, I got the, you know, the manual, I got the digital screen room. Right now I'm kind of like, it's perfect. Like it's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, I don't know if I could fit anything else in my shop just because of the way it is. Like it's just super long.
Or how big do you think the production area is?
Like we're only occupying like less than a third of it. So like right now, the middle section of the building, I used to rent it out to this old couple, and they had an antique store in there. And they recently, one of them actually died, and then she ended up moving in with her kids, and they're gone now. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to reopen this to another person to rent out. I'm going to renovate it and make it more shop space. Well, office space is what we're going to make it. You know, I got lucky with the building, and I just, when we came, basically we were in a 2-car garage, and we grew out of that in a year. And then it got to the point where we were like, we need to find a bigger place. And I was just looking to rent, and this old dude, super well-known guy in the town, had this old train station that we're in. And
the building looks rad, like with the train tracks right there.
Yeah, so. Dude, the tracks are literally like 15 feet from the office. Like the whole building, it's like right behind. So when the train goes through, like hauling ass, it's like the whole building shakes. I went like every time it goes by, I'm just waiting. I'm like, today's the day. Like it's gonna just like derail and like fucking kill all of us. Like it's just gonna be like, like somebody's gonna be in the bathroom like taking a shit, and it's gonna take out the rest of the building, and they're just gonna be sitting there.
They'll still be there, like the movie Twister or something in the shitter. They're sitting on the shitter with no house around them. Like, I survived.
Exactly. Yeah, Jurassic Park style.
There you go. Yeah, no, it's like I've been thinking about that a lot lately, especially coming out of this. Like, I mean, I purposely kind of tried to be very conservative before this. I mean, like, I had an experience. I bought a house in 08, 6 months before all that happened. So that, like, was, I mean, I call it the American scheme. I was chasing it full on, like most people, you know, doing everything you're supposed to do. They tell you work hard, get a decent job, pay your bills, you know, piece by piece. And then like overnight, the actions of a few greedy people that run this country make decisions. It was all gone. Like me and the wife's plan was, you know, we're going to sit here 3 years. I'm going to buy things piece by piece. But then, you know, I've got clients and friends, and I've been thinking about it a lot lately. Like, everybody's so obsessed with scaling as quickly as possible and trying to be the big guy and look cool. And like, I don't give two shits about that. I learned after 08, it's about quality of life. The things that we've already talked about during this podcast is like, I sleep a lot better and feel a lot better about myself and my family's livelihood and future. Like, I'm not panicking that much right now. Like, I mean, we all will be, you know, in a few months if it stagnates completely. But like, I packed away acorns. Like, I'm not too, but I learned that from, you know, family and stuff. And I don't know, man. Like, I mean, think about it. Most people, you know, you don't get your head screwed on straight till you're maybe 30 or 35. If you're lucky, you've got 30 solid years of productivity. You're not going to be Jeff Bezos in that time, okay? The idea hasn't hit you, but yeah, you waste that next 20 or 30 years just grinding your ass off, you know. And I really, awoken to that lately about my family and stuff is like, I busted ass to get to where I'm at with the shop, and now it's time to start enjoying, the spoils of war or whatever, because you kill yourself to get there. But I mean, I'm really fascinated by the people who never stop. They just want more and more and more. And I'm like, one of the main questions I'll ask some clients I have that are, according to most people, very, very successful. And I'm like, what motivates you? Like, what in the world makes you wake up and just want to like take over the world? It's like, I'm always been fascinated by that. And like, maybe I'm defective because
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
No, I'm in your corner. I mean, there's a lot of shops. I mean, we I don't want to name any names, but there's definitely a lot of people that are like very good shops, but they're definitely like money guys, and they're like wheelers and dealers and stuff, and they're definitely in it to be like, oh, I have, and it kind of bugs me. Like, a lot of people are like, well, how many square footage is your shop? It's like the first question most people ask when they ask about your print shop. And it's like,
you gotta scale, bro. You gotta scale.
The fuck does that matter? Does it matter what the square footage is? It's like, I get that they're like trying to like, it's like a dick measuring competition. They're like, oh, you have this massive building and you have, oh, how many employees do you have? It's like, oh, you have, 300 employees. It's like, dude, I want to have the least amount of employees and I want to have like the least amount of space to get the most amount of stuff in that I can like work efficiently.
Efficiency is everything.
Right. And it's like, I did that like Catalyst program with Mark Dre, and it was like one of the things that he talked about too, is just kind of like, don't hire like a ton of people. Like anytime like a bottleneck comes up, don't be like, oh, I automatically have to hire somebody else. It's like the way our shop operates is like basically everybody who works there is like a manager of their area. Like, say like Bill, for instance, with screens, it's not like I hired a guy to clean screens and then, oh, I hired a guy to like coat and tape screens. Oh, I hired a guy to do this. It's like, no, like he isn't the screen tech. Like he cleans screens, coats screens, tape screens, like anything that has to do with screens, like he does all of it and he preps everything, gets it all ready. So it's like, if you need to talk to anybody about anything with screens, he's the guy to go to.
How do you, like, the way me and you built our businesses, I laugh with them sometimes. I'm like, I think I did it totally wrong, because everybody else just starts yanking loans. It's going to be great, man. There ain't going to be no guy just mixing inks in my shop. Like, if you want to make a livable wage, you need to know multiple things, because that creates your worth, and then you get paid well. How do they even afford to pay all these bodies to just roam around like zombies?
Dude, I don't know. I mean, it's justified with some shops. Like, they have the work and they have, it's their efficiency, the way they built it, and it makes total sense. But like for me, for our shop specifically, it's just, it doesn't make sense. And then like me as the owner, like I order everything. I still do sales. I still do emails. I do all the business management stuff. I do all the marketing stuff. It's like, and I'm comfortable with that. Like if I got to the point where I wasn't comfortable and I had too much stuff to do, that's when you manage and you're like, okay, like I need to hire somebody to take this over. I feel like you need to get to the point where it's like you can't possibly move forward anymore until you hire somebody else. But I feel like there's too many people that are just like, I need to get that Ferrari or whatever, where they're like, I need a status symbol. Like, and so-and-so has 25 employees. I have to have 25 employees. And it's like, dude, you're going to go out of business. Like payroll alone is like the most expensive thing.
Yeah. And the way, like, I mean, like I'm kind of at that point where I really need to, I've struggled finding people in the market I'm in, but that's why I bought the iMages, like, because I was completely maxed. There was no way I'm going to get this work done in a timely manner, in a typical, 2-week turnaround from when a client orders something. And that's like with the relaxed turnaround. And there's no way. And then I buy this machinery and I get the press and I get the dryer. Like we used to have to run everything through the dryer twice because we used infrared and it was water based. I want to be able to sleep at night, because in the beginning I get the calls, oh, this washed out, man. This all washed out. And like, that's the worst feeling. And then I'm going to do the right thing. So I'm basically going to either completely reprint the job and eat the materials or refund the client. Either way, I'm losing. I'm either barely going to break even on this or I'm going to lose some money. And if you do that enough times, you're not in business anymore. It's like, I just tell people all the time, man, like people are seriously delusional. Money changing hands is not the same thing as making money. And
Yeah.
like too many people just have figures flying around. They're like, we're killing it, bro. Like you're gonna probably look at the balance sheet. You lost your ass last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how'd we lose 20 grand, man?
Yeah. I feel like I just got to the point where I'm like a serious shop where we're, you know, we can do basically anything that comes in the door now. And it took 10 years to get here. Like we weren't in year 2 or 3 when we were like, oh yeah, we can handle this or do, you know, any kind of, you know, it could be any kind of celebrity or anything could come in and be like, hey, like I want to open a store, or I need you guys to do this order. I would 100% feel confident with anything that comes in right now and be like, yeah, we could handle that. Like we're not at all a contract shop. Everything is direct to customer. I'm not worried about contract stuff where it's like, oh, we're looking for jobs that are like, is awesome that we just got this 100,000 piece order. It's like, I do not fucking want that at all.
Dude, I have a buddy in California, rad guy, super good guy. And I think it's a family business, and he started the screen print wing. It was the video I sent you today of that thing, but he'll send me a picture and there'll be like 5 pallets stacked from, like, broken out of the boxes, stacked from floor to ceiling. And I'll be like, have fun with that, man.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, I honestly want no part in that. Like it's nice once in a while.
Money, but
yeah, it's nice once in a while, but like I more prefer the margins and the money in the like 100 to 500 piece orders. Right, like both guys with both processes running, it's like, okay, we can do 20 to 30 jobs a day.
Yeah.
And it's like all those jobs have great margins, and the guys aren't burnt out because they might print a job that takes an hour, and then it's like, okay, well they're on to the next job, and then,
it keeps it
you
fresh.
know, right, and also too, like a lot of the stuff, and especially like the stuff that you do, it's like you try to get in the right niche with the right people and the right artists. Like you're printing cool shit every day. I like the fact when like a band comes along, it's like, oh, here's a, you know, we're like a lighthearted, you know, pop punk band, and here's our logo and whatever. And it's like, oh, it's cool. Like it's a unicorn, like farting rainbows or something. You're like, oh, that's awesome. And then the next thing is just like super awful death metal. And I don't mean awful like it's bad. Like it could be amazing art, but it's like Brian has his like coveted, like he wanted me to submit it to Impressions for like their yearly awards. And it's like, he's so proud of the steps he did on this design, but it's like the devil like spewing like fetus blood into like a naked woman's half ripped open body, and like all there's like demons crawling out of the like.
Those weren't the local church's revival tees.
Yeah, dude. And it's so awful, but the print's awesome. Like the, you know, the simulated process, like it came out flawless. Like there's a lot of shops that are like, yeah, we do a lot of fun stuff, but we have to have contract to like even out the schedule and like stay busy. I feel like we've kind of gotten into the thing where it's like, all right, we're dealing with a lot of really cool like comic book shops and bands and stuff to pay the bills too, but is also still cool is like the contractor stuff, because like a lot of those guys are, I feel like it's a different industry, but it's very similar to ours, like printers.
You get to provide them a quality product that literally benefits them functionality wise.
Yeah.
Like I've worked with some like fishing clients and stuff, and when they're out there on the boat all day, you don't want the heat shield torching your back. Right. And like that's the biggest difference. And like, so maybe the art isn't the most romance when you print it, but like I would personally get satisfaction from the fact that your expertise and your effort is creating that experience, and like that's everything.
Yeah, but we basically talked to a lot of these guys and we're like, yeah, we have like good designers that can like make you a whole new logo, like rebrand everything, and then they end up with really nice shirts, they end up with a great print, and they end up with like a whole rebrand, and they're like stoked. And then like I said, there's so many of these guys that they tell on Instagram or whatever, they tell 20 people, and then we work with those 20 people and they tell 20 people.
Exactly.
And then it's just like
a virus, like word of mouth's a virus. Like I've never spent a dime on Facebook ads. I know some people that like dump a lot of money in that. When we lived in Texas and we were gonna move here. I lived here in the Coast Guard, so I kind of knew the lay of the land. And plus, I knew there was a good design community, and selfishly, that's who I want to work with. Because like the thing is, it's so magic to me anytime ink goes through a screen. but it's a lot less painful when you're making really cool shit all day long.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So I would come into town and I would make little packs with t-shirts, sticker stuff, and I strategically kind of approached a couple places, and like one of them is a very high-end design brand. And I remember walking into this giant studio, and they're all in this glass boardroom, and they just turn and look, and they're like, "Who the hell is this guy?" And I just this big gangly dude just standing in line, like, "Hey, I'm Josh. Here's a pack." And the irony is, 3 months later, the designer I just said hello to in the parking lot with a 5-second interaction went on his own. And ever since then, I've never had to hit the streets and sell. It's all word of mouth.
Yeah.
All word of mouth.
Dude, me and Chris have an amazing story like that, and it's again, it's one of those things like you don't know until you get there. But when we were first starting, we were in that 2-car garage, and like we literally couldn't fit like stock shirts we ordered in the garage because there was no space. Like we had to stack them in the corner, and then when we had to count, we put sawhorses outside, put out a piece of wood, and like counted shirts in the lawn on the sawhorses. That's like how our space was. So anyway, we ended up emailing. It was one of those things where we're just like, let's try to get like as much business as we can. And you know, back then we were just like cold emailing everybody. So we ended up emailing this one guy. I'm pretty sure his name was Eddie Murphy, and he was this white dude, like super
RFE.
Dude, same spelling, Eddie Murphy. He was just like a bro, but he was like the guy under the guy who was the head of procurement for the New York Mets. Like, not like in our area, there's like the Binghamton Mets. It's like literally the New York Mets. He was like, yeah, we're willing to have a meeting with you guys if you want. And I think they thought we were like nearby. Like we were like, yeah, we could just stop in. So we're like, yeah, we'll take this meeting. And they're like, all right, come to City Field on like whatever, like I don't remember what day it was. Say it was like a Thursday or whatever at like noon. So me and Chris were like, okay, like should we do this? Like, should we even try this? Because if they come back to us and they're like, we want 10,000 shirts like every month, like we're literally using like a 4-color like Ryonet silver press and
Dude, I had the 1-color when I started.
Dude, and then we had the like the tiny Econo Max dryer, and like I don't know, we were just ambitious, and we were like, all right, let's take this meeting. This is how I dress all the time. Like I literally usually have jeans or shorts, a hoodie, hat. I was like, this is who I am. Like I hope they accept me. Like I think I like cut my hair, like put on a fresh hoodie. I think it was like at the time it was like an American Apparel hoodie and like jeans that weren't like all blown out. And Chris had like a dress shirt on. We drove from where we are to City Field. It takes like 3 hours. We drive there, park in City Field, like get in the building, and then Eddie Murphy comes out or whatever. He's like, I'm actually really busy today. But like the dude who's like the head of procurement says that he can take your meeting. And this is like the top dude. And we were like, oh shit. And we walk into like City Field, like not like the baseball, like it's the baseball stadium, but it's like the business side, like marble floors, like super high end everything. And the lady at the door is like, oh, can I get you like a drink? And there's like fancy stuff. And we're like, no. Yeah, we're like, no, like we're kind of like shy. We're like, no. And then anyway, the dude comes out and he's like, he could tell, like he instantly said, and he said it out loud too. He's like, oh, I can always tell you artsy types, like you always dress the same. And I was just like, God damn it. Like this is not gonna band. Yeah, like you could tell that we were like not professionals. So anyway, he brings us into his office and he's like starts chit-chatting with us or whatever. And he's like, oh, where are you guys from? And we told him, he's like, you drove here? And we're like, yeah. He's like, I could have done Skype. He's like, you did not need to come here.
Let me get you a Daryl Strawberry jersey.
Yeah. But dude, we ended up just talking to him like a normal, like me and you were talking right now. He was just like a super down to earth guy. And he was like, we gave him some pricing. And we're like, yes. Well, basically what they wanted is like the actual Mets logo stuff that they sell and like you could buy as like a fan is like not made here. It's like made in China or something.
Right.
But the stuff that they put on the back of chairs, the stuff they give away at games, like everybody who comes today gets a shirt like that they get locally. So that's what they wanted to do, is they wanted to be like, all right, we need like, 10,000 white tees with the Mets logo on it today. And on the back, it says like, I don't know, like Kid Day or something.
Right.
And I gave him the price and he was like, yeah, this is a great price. He's like, we'd love to work with you. He's like, honestly, the thing that sold me on like working with you is the fact that you guys fucking drove here and like took this meeting when we could have done it over the phone. And me and Chris like left that meeting so fucking stoked. Like we were like, dude, I cannot believe this worked out.
See, like that stuff's like automatic to me, and I don't know how anybody, if you're not achieving some type of success, you're probably not approaching things like that.
Yeah. Well, I
Because
feel
that's
like a lot of people are just like, no, I'll do the call or I'll do the whatever. And we were like, we looked at it as like a fucking, like an adventure. We were like, dude, let's do this. Let's go. Like, who cares? Like, we took one day out of the week and we were like, let's go do this thing. We had a blast. Anyway, where City Field is, it's like the end of the line for the train. And we were like, all right, well, let's just leave the car in the parking lot. Let's hop on the train and let's go to like Manhattan and like go downtown and like hang out or whatever for the day. So we ended up like going down. We went to Hard Rock, like had lunch, like had an awesome time, just like a story we'll have for the rest of our lives. Got back to the car, drove home, and we were like, dude, we cannot believe we have this like business coming or whatever. And I don't remember what year it was, but it was like the year that like the Mets like almost went bankrupt. And they were like they never ordered anything because they had no money to spend on like extra shit. So like we never got any of the orders.
we got to
But the
go with
dude,
the keychains, man. They little
yeah,
less, please.
dude, the dude that we talked to there though, like ended up leaving and going to like start his own company, but he had his hands in like all these other things, like Society of Illustrators is like this thing in New York City. It's like this art event thing. And like he was on the board for that. So like he ended up giving us all the orders for that. And we still do those to this day. And like there's all these other things that he was involved with that like he gave us the work for, just because he was like, you dudes are awesome. Like I want to keep working with you guys. Like sorry the Mets thing didn't work out.
I don't know, man. That stuff's just always. I'm not the smartest dude in the world. Like I look at some stuff and I'm like, how are you not looking at it this way? Like I don't like. Do you want to be successful? Yes. No. I don't know.
Yeah. I think what part of that too is like the way you were brought up. Like I feel like when you come from not being like a spoiled brat, like growing up, that you start a business that you're actually passionate about, I feel like you have that extra like the extra drive to be like, I want this to be like as successful and powerful as possible, because you're like ultra proud of like what you did. But this is my hobby. Like screen printing, the shop is
my job.
right. Like this is my hobby. Like this is what I want to do. And they're like, they leave work and they like have bands or they like build things or do these other projects. It's like when I go home, my like hobby at home when I have nothing to do is like fucking researching how to better myself with screen printing or like marketing. It's like I'll literally stay up till my body fucking shuts down. Like, you know how I know it's time for me to go to bed at night every night is because I drop my fucking phone on my face. Like, no joke. Like, I'll be laying in bed, have my phone, and then I'm like looking at something or like, reading something. And then I'll just get smashed in the face of my phone. And I'm like, yeah, I just nodded off and dropped my phone on my face. Like,
This is a funny story. The whole reason, like a lot of people that know about him, the hat you're wearing with those dudes on the hat, the hilarity of how I met them guys was basically just like that. I remember I bought some white shop rags and I was sitting in bed. I'm not kidding. And this is when it took me, it was nothing like now. Like I had to dry a screen, it'd take like a day, and I had to make everyone count because it took me forever to clean them. But I'm sitting in bed and I just got in my head, I'm like, I got to see my logo on one of those shop rags. And I couldn't go to sleep. It was like 10:30 or 11, and I just got out of bed and I went down and made a screen. I didn't go to bed till like 4, but I printed those rags and I put a picture up of those rags. And I guess Lincoln, the dudes at Lincoln, when I was just scrolling through Instagram one day, I found that and just messaged me as like, "Hey man," and I knew who they were, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
mm-hmm.
And made some shop rags, and like, man, it's crazy. It's been like 5 or 6 years since, and like, but that's hilarious because you say that, and that's like that was one of those moments. Like I can't sleep. instead of researching something like I have to see this freaking logo on these rags.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, it's funny
that's
too.
super cool.
I feel like with me and you, we have the same kind of mentality when it comes to like branding our companies. And we get people all the time that like don't know a lot about us and find us and they're like, "Oh, you're a clothing line, but you also like print shirts for other people too." And I'm like, "No, we're not at all a clothing line. Like not at all." I was like, "We have a lot of like company shirts because I like to explore like other designers and I like to like get cool shit made because
You
I
eat
like to
the
start
same brand of
relation.
cereal every day.
Yeah, like I
Sometimes
like
you want
to
Fruit Loops, and sometimes you want Apple Jacks.
well, it's just like I like to work with designers, start a relationship,
Yeah.
and then like you build off of them, and then like they give you clients, and like you grow, and but you end up getting a lot of cool shit for yourself. But the thing is like we're fucking screen printers. Like we make apparel, so it's like why wouldn't you make a bunch of really cool shit with your own logos on it, your own stuff on it, so that like you can take that stuff and you can give it away. You can be like, okay, like so many people will spend tons of money on like Facebook and all this other stuff. And it's like, why don't you just make a bunch of really cool shit that you're good
Yeah.
at and then take those and be like, oh, I really want to work with this guy over here. Like, how about I just like put a package together, mail it to him without him asking or paying or anything, get it to him in his face with a handwritten note that says like, hey, I really love what you do. I'd love to work with you. Like, here's some of my shit. Like, honestly, like if you don't hear back from them, whatever, like it wasn't meant to be. But like if you hear back from them and they want to work with you, then fuck yeah, it's awesome. So it's like that's our thing with like making all the Upstate shirts and stuff. And like it did turn into like we do have like fans of the company that like to just wear our stuff, which is amazing. But like honestly, if anybody walked into the shop and like had a conversation with me, I'd like take whatever the fuck you want. Like if you want fucking one of this, one of this, one of
I
this,
see that
take it.
all the time.
But it's like it to them, they're like, what? I want to pay. I'm like, no, like
I'm the
honestly,
same
I
way.
want you to have this because I want you to wear it and I want you to be like, this is my new favorite shirt and I want you
Yeah.
to tell everybody about it. I want you to wear it to events. And people are like, what's that company? What's that company?
Dylan, you got to get into the affliction foil, man.
Dude, fuck.
Just think about Upstate and a nice like prison script around the neck.
We should just do that anyway. Sell them to that
Dude,
dude from
dude,
Tiger King.
here we go. We got a challenge to launch amongst anybody who likes what we do. We will have a foil tee, like tee off or
No,
something.
I refuse. I want nothing to do with foil.
Do you not cook anything that requires aluminum foil?
Well, yeah, no, I'm terrified of foil, like just aluminum foil in general.
When you're really, really angry, do you just ball a big ball of aluminum foil and throw it in the microwave and put it on 5
Yeah,
minutes?
I put it in my mouth and I chew on it. All my fillings just arc back and forth.
You get that Paul Wall grill going on.
Yeah.
I'd rather do half the work and churn out top-notch stuff than to just be able to put a video on YouTube and be like, holy shit, look at that press. It's lifting off the floor because it's going as fast as a helicopter blade. Like, no one, I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
just.
Well, I feel like the way things are going is like the Amazons and the custom inks and stuff that are handling the people who just want shirts for an event that they don't really care about. It's just to them, it's
I
a
don't want that
promotional
person.
item.
Like,
I know that's what I'm saying is I feel like a lot of those people are, I'm 100% okay with if they're going to custom ink and all these other places. What I want is the cool shit. I want the artists, the comic book places, the the bands on tour, the comedians on tour, all this stuff. I want the people who can call me. They can text me. I get it all the time. I might get a text. It's 12:30 in the morning now, and I might get a text from somebody and being like, "Hey, I got this cool idea for a shirt," and they know they can text me. They know they can call me, and I'll walk them through the whole process, and then we'll produce awesome shirts and they'll get them and they'll be stoked on it. And
I'm the same way. I don't mind that because this is my life.
Right.
Like, I mean, I don't want them pinging me all the time, but like, I do love what I do. So like that stuff, you don't have to answer it, but I love the fact that there's certain individuals that trust me enough in this shop.
Right.
Like, I busted my ass during trust. Like, it's so nice to not have to say anything anymore and just be like, just go look at the Instagram, and they're like, oh, I don't have to sell you now. Like, that says everything I need it to say.
All right, dude. I'll let you get back. I'll let you get to bed. What's
questions.
Yeah. Well, we did most of them
Did we?
in a roundabout way. We did a lot of them.
Okay, that works.
What's a good place for people to find you? Instagrams and Facebooks and all that stuff.
Just Google Grizzle Whizzle.
A Grizzle Whizzle. I think that'll come up with things that people don't actually want to see.
Don't Google Grizzle Whizzle, dude. It's Grizzly Wheeler. Just Google it.
Okay.
That's my new business card. Grizzly Wheeler. Just Google it.